Today's going to be a mishmash of all things. So like, we're going to talk about love languages, we're going to talk about racial fetishes, we're going to talk about future building, what we want from our partners, do we even want partners, what's the new norm, are we different from our grandparents' generation? I literally had a conversation with one of my friends yesterday, and he was telling me how our generation's so different. Like, we don't take bullshit from people that we're dating. If like something isn't working out, we just like, we either cut it, we have a conversation. If it's not workable, we're just cutting it off. Unlike perhaps our grandparents' generation, where they compromise on a lot of things and probably just married for the sake of marrying, for the sake of like that family pressure that you have, maybe because of traditions or cultures. What do you guys think? Do you think our generation's a bit different?
Yeah, massively.
Yep.
I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to explain Tinder to my grandma. That was just like, being with a man outside of marriage is not a thing my grandma would ever accept. So yeah, I think very different, safe to say.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I think my nan's quite traditional in that, obviously she believes in marriage. She's quite Catholic, but she's like, Camilla, get your education. Like, don't fuck around with men. Just leave them alone for now. Make sure you have your career. You sort yourself out first. I'm like, yes, man, don't worry. You don't even need to tell me twice. Like, I'm on it. Don't worry. You won't see me with no partner anytime soon. Like, no, it's all right. But I know I have friends whose parents are even like asking them already. I'm 23. I'm guessing most of you guys are around that age. Already asking like, when are you guys having babies? And like, when are you guys getting married? And it's just like, I don't even have a house yet. Like, what are you talking about? Marriage. Oh my god. So yeah, do you guys have preferences? Like, do you guys look for certain things in your partners?
Well, it's slightly, yeah.
I have a few things.
Yeah.
Go on, Mel. What preferences, or like, is it attributes, or is there characteristics, or is it?
No, it's gonna sound mad, yeah, but it's mainly mindset. Like, obviously, a nice looking girl is a bonus, but I feel like it's mindset, innit? Like, if you're still like a childish kind of person, you're not matured yet, and I'm not learning nothing from you when I'm with you, there's no point in us chilling. Like, you're not adding no value to my life.
So what's childish?
That's what I look for anyway.
What do you mean by like, if you're childish, you're not mature yet?
You just don't know what you want. Like, you're just winging it, basically. You don't have a plan for yourself.
I'm pretty much the same. Yeah. Like, I'm very clear with what I want. Like, I have short-term goals, like medium-term goals and long-term goals. And I feel like if my partner didn't have that we might not be on the same page, or like we're not able to create the sort of future that we could create, like in a like powerful way. But you might just be winging it, and I don't know if I trust that. It's a bit uncertain.
Exactly.
What about the rest of you guys?
I seek a mixture. Like, I get the mindset and focus, but I have to get that wow factor, you know what I mean? I have to be like, wow, like, you need to, like, I need to get the looks, but also when I get to know you, personality has to be there. You know, not all about yourself. You need to be, like, kind, like, considerate and all of this stuff. But I still need to have that wow factor, you get what I mean?
I feel you.
I like to say that I'm just looking for personality, and I really like the idea of just looking for personality, and obviously they're the big things. But if you showed me someone with the entire list of personality traits I'm looking for and they're butters, it's just not going to work out, because that initial move isn't going to happen, and it's not going to, like, you need enough attractiveness to get in the door, and then you need the personality to, like, keep my attention and keep me going. And I think that's the same for most people. And like, I want to be like this really like good person who's like, yeah, it doesn't matter what someone looks like, but I'm not lying. If someone's not it, they're not it, and they're not get it.
Have you guys ever like been friends with someone and you're not necessarily physically attracted to them, but then you get to know them and they grow on you? It's like, wow, I didn't really see you as beautiful or handsome or sexy, but now I'm like seeing you in a whole different light. Has that ever happened to you guys?
I can't lie, it happened to me still.
I've had a situation before where it's like someone I wasn't initially attracted to, and then you give that person a chance because you don't want to be shallow, and then you get invested, and then they end up playing you, and I'm like, how have I ended up getting played by you? And I didn't even like you in the that's the biggest.
Scams.
The worst.
Memory of it all.
You don't deserve this anyway. Nah, that's horrible.
Like, I thought I was being kind, and now it's come back to, oh.
That is mad.
That's why it's not good to settle, though.
No. I've learnt my lesson on that one. We're not doing that again. If I'm ever going to get played, it's going to be played by someone that was on my level to begin with. So,
do you guys ever feel like there's no point in dating right now, or like you don't want to even put yourself out there because like you're scared of getting hurt, or you're not ready to settle down?
Okay, so I think like being in your 20s and stuff, you're so invested in your education, like where you want to go in life and stuff. And a lot of people, especially in their early 20s, relationships is a secondary type of thing. And you know that if you're dating, you know that it's more or less unlikely that you're going to kind of like fully look into a future or settle down with the person that you're with. So I think at the moment, possibly like a lot of us are like more focused on, oh, what am I gonna do, like where am I gonna get in life, like what exactly do I want to pursue, do I know what my purpose is, am I going to put more time into that? And when we're looking for like partners, we're kind of looking for people who mirror not just that we find them attractive or that they've got good personality, but our values as well, where we're looking to get in life and stuff. Like, because then you know, like, oh, is this person going to be here for the long haul? Because if you're not going in the same direction, then like, what's the point?
And how do you suss that out? The process that you go through.
So here's the thing, right? When like you're young and like you're like just like, you know, going about and stuff, everyone's playing a game. They're playing a game because they're like, oh, like, yeah, I want to try and get this person because like I'm attracted to them, innit? Yeah. So let's say I'm a guy, like I'm gonna be telling you anything and everything under the sunlight to try and like get with you and stuff. Yeah. I don't know what the like end goal is, like maybe like, you know, but you know, so I think as like people like in their 20s and stuff, like when we're like getting involved with other people, the future isn't so much like at the forefront. I think like maybe when you're like reaching like the end of like your 20s, you might be like looking more into that sort of thing. So when you're vetting someone, like you need to be looking at their actions. You need to see what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? It's because that's where the real value is. But also I feel like vibes as well. Do you know what I mean? Like you say you're hardworking and this and that, but you're also like fun loving and stuff. You don't want to be with someone who's like strict and like they're not about like enjoying life on the daily, like, you know, finding the nice and pleasant things in every day, whereas like you might be like someone like that, and that kind of person can drain the energy out of you. So yeah, that's what I think.
I agree. I think it's a process, isn't it? Like discovering who someone is. Like I think one of my friends, she's been in a relationship for about 5 years now, and she was telling me the other day, like, I think it's either like we make it or break it by this point. Like it's either we decide to carry on and this is my life partner, or we look back and we know that it hasn't worked and we kind of leave it. And I was like, what? It takes 5 years. Like that's a long time. But you know, like when you're living with someone and getting to know them, it does take a long time.
I feel like as well, when you're living with someone, essentially you're cohabiting, right? But at the same time, you know that nothing's like set in stone and nothing's like rock solid. I feel like in that type of environment, people aren't all in with their cards, because it's not like they've actually like decided that, oh, this person is the one, this person is someone that I'm gonna get married to. Like they might think like, oh, like I really like this person, yeah, and like enough to like live with them and stuff. But when you're not all in with your cards, it's like you've kind of got like half a foot in and like half a foot out. So it's like, are you really working towards the same thing, or like the same like you know, direction, like that you really want to be with like this person? So there's that aspect. And then I think as well, like you said, with the friend that was like with someone for like 5 years, there are certain people who know a relationship's not going to work out. They see the signs, but they stick about. And I really think like that's a waste of time, like for yourself and for the other person, but also because like you know nothing's going to come of it, and that resentment builds up and certain like negative feelings, and it traumatizes you like psychologically, like, oh, like, you know, I was in a, and then eventually when you get out of it, you're like, I was in a relationship with like this kind of person, and I don't want to ever, like, you know, go through that again. And it makes you build up walls, and then if you come across someone like that, or like you see like it going in that direction, and like, you know, they might not be like this other person that you were with, but you're like, oh, like, F it, nah, like, I'm gonna stop it before it even gets there, without really seeing where it's gonna go.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of us in our generation kind of do, where obviously we're humans, we have feelings, you know what I mean? Like, but I guess when someone hurts us, as Izzy said, we like put up walls and we don't get to...
Not everyone's the same though. Why do women do that?
I agree.
Guys do that. I've seen so many guys do that, if I be honest.
Guys don't get over their ex from like year 10, and that's why none of us girls can get a chance. Oh, I was in love with her, she broke my heart. You didn't even go on a date, you went to the cinema with your parents to watch Finding Nemo or something. And then 10 years later, we're the ones who are apparently crazy, because God forbid we're not like that. Sorry, I went off there.
I agree.
The women in this generation are scary. Sorry, bro. The women in this generation are mad scary. I think.
Very, it's true. You know that, yeah? With men, we love harder, innit? Like, if a man loves you, you know he loves you, innit? That's why we're resentful after, like, how many weeks or months or years from our ex. With women, it's like, 1 week you're crying. Next week, you're happy with another guy. So, or not next week, but in a short space of time, you move on quickly. So it's like, was there love there to begin with? Or was it just,
No.
do you just want me for the time being, that kind of thing? If we broke up with you, we miss you, we proper miss you. That shows love. From past experience, I've dated girls and stuff, and then 2-2s, they're with someone else doing whatever, cool. Like, so to me, I'm thinking, right, that's a bit, you've done a bit too quick. So when you was with me, all the stuff that you were saying, are you saying to this guy as well? Or was it, you know, like...
But do you reach, you know how you said, like, if you miss the girl, do you communicate back to them and say, oh, like, I feel like that was a mistake, I feel like we should try again?
No. Like, once it's gone, innit? Like, for me personally, once it's gone, it's gone. Whatever happened.
But what do you mean once it's gone?
Like, if you broke up with the girl, that's it, innit? Like, obviously, if you went your both separate paths and that, then
how come then you say, oh, she's moved on?
But it's moving on quick. It's not just moving on.
No, I hear that.
But it's moving on quick.
So you're just your concern is just like how some females just move on quickly, and it kind of confuses you, or did they actually have feelings there?
Yeah.
I think that could be like two cases, yeah. In my forefront, I'm thinking she either didn't like really fuck with you like that, or like she's trying to get over you by, you know, moving on and forcing something new, which like, but I feel like both women and men.
With us guys, we just find someone to just have fun with. Like, we're not really...
Exactly.
It's just...
When you have someone fun, that's it. Like, you don't want to try again because you're hurt still.
No, I don't know. Personally, I've never been like heartbroken like that, but
I have boy.
The hurt.
I have boy. Yeah, no, like I haven't been in a relationship in 5 years. Like since I was 18. I'm 23, guys. It's a long time. Like I used to watch like shows, you know, those relationship shows, and you know when they used to put like how long they've been single for. I used to see that and think, wow, like what's wrong with you that you've been single for so long? And now I'm one of them. And I'm okay with that, you know, because I'm not willing to settle down, like compromise for something that doesn't excite me, that I'm not passionate for. I'm just not willing to. I'd rather not be in a relationship then. And I feel like a lot of people do settle down because they're scared of being alone, or they just don't want to be alone. It might not be out of being scared, but it's just like sometimes it could be lonely and they haven't really either nurtured their friendships or their relationships with their family to be like, yeah, I'm good on my own anyway because I've got good people around me.
Really prioritizes communication, and before that can even happen, like people need to communicate. They don't even like bother to even go to that extent to begin with.
I hear you. Like it is extremely important to understand each other.
Can we talk about men and women like relations? Because I'm like, some chicks chase guys that don't want them, and some guys are chasing chicks that don't want them, and some like individuals are like a fucking 4 and like they're trying to punch and like try and get themselves like a 9. And I'm just like, here's the thing, yeah, you've got like a girl who's like, you know, maybe average and she's trying to get a Prince Charming, and then you've got like a guy that, you know, maybe he's you know, quiet or a bit sneaky, and like, you know, he wants that hot flaming girl. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting with someone on your level, and if you want to get with someone who you think is like above your level, like, what's wrong with working on yourself? Do you know what I mean? Upgrade yourself before like you try and like punch for someone you think is like, oh, like this person's all that. Do you know what I mean? Like, can we talk about that?
Like, what is it like? What, so
like
people should like move to people that you feel is on their level?
Yeah.
I think that everyone needs to firstly love themselves first off, and be confident within themselves, and be willing to, you know, get to know someone. I think there's a lot of emphasis on appearance, of course, 100%. I think that you needed to be attracted to the person to even like, you know, consider that thing. But some people, like, they don't even want to like bother.
I feel like, let's be real, yeah, a lot of people don't ever get to that level of self-love unless they're being told it. Like, I'm just trying to be realistic. Like, a lot of people need like that affirmation from their partner. Like, I know a few girls that, you know, they're confident and they're beautiful, but it was only up until like a certain point in their relationship where they had been told so many times by their partner that they truly believed it. And because they had been moved to a lot more in that period of time by other people, that they truly believed it. So it's like, I feel like this self-love thing gets thrown around a lot and so easily that it's just like, okay, so what does that look like? Firstly, how do you start? Where do you start? And I think it's okay to also learn how to self-love in a relationship because of that relationship.
I feel like
I
depending
disagree.
I feel like depending too much on someone else to fill your cup is detrimental, because you're basically using them as a crutch, and as soon as something happens in the relationship, or like they decide that all of a sudden they want to demean you, it's like that crutch gets pulled away and like your glass gets spilt, and like all that water, that love that you start to have for yourself because of this person. Like,
I want to, Mel, what, you were saying you disagree. What do you disagree with?
The whole you can learn to love yourself in a relationship. I think that shit's too tiring and too draining it's draining for the other person, basically, because
they try to keep reinforce it.
You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't even be thinking about a relationship if you don't love yourself. Like, if like, okay, like a guy can or a girl can learn, like, make the other person love themselves, but are you really gonna love yourself, or are you just gonna love yourself because that person tells you you should love yourself? Because God forbid, if that relationship ends, you're still gonna go back to not loving yourself, because the reason why you love yourself is because of that person. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Like, I don't think that's normal. I couldn't see myself with somebody that doesn't love themselves.
And I get what you're saying. And I guess where I'm coming from is, it's okay if they have fulfilled that sort of self-love from that relationship. Like, if it just happened to be that you were in that relationship and now you have discovered self-love, then I think that's fine. And like, I feel like sometimes we misconstrue things and we end up like judging people for like feeling beautiful or feeling handsome or feeling like sexy or whatever because they've been in that relationship.
No, by all means, if you leave that relationship and gain some sort of self-love from it, then definitely big up you, innit? But if that's not the case and you only feel like you love yourself whilst being in that relationship, then I think that's a problem.
No, absolutely. And like Izzy said, it's almost like a crutch. Like, you need something to fulfill you, like to fulfill a void. And that also happens with like lack of relationships with your parents, etc., etc. That's a whole different topic. But you know what, guys? Yeah, how do you feel about girls moving to guys?
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it as well.
Because I spoke to one guy and he was just like, but to be fair, he grew up in Colombia. It's a whole different culture, and he said to me like, basically, no, like that's not that's not how it is. It's not really like womanly, and guys can take advantage of that. I was like, well, I have never looked at it like that, you know.
How are guys taking advantage of that? Sure. I don't really know.
It kind of looked. He made it sound like they just look easy. You know what I mean? Like they just want one thing. Why are you chasing? Sorry?
We're going after what we want.
Girl.
Well,
No,
you
but
don't do that anyway, though.
I've heard guys basically say that, and the explanation that I've heard is that basically, oh, she's too eager. There must be something wrong with her.
So when we don't give it up with like, oh, she's playing too hard to get, or she's frigid or whatever, and then when we do make a move, oh, she's too keen. No, I don't like that. Which one is it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think she's eager. I just think that she's interested, and I would probably, if I was interested in her, I'll have more of like a interest kind of thing, because she's shown interest into me. I know I use interest a lot, but still, yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with it, to be there. It should be happening more often.
Right.
I've heard of this term for women that chase men called pick me. So they're like, pick me. And then like, especially for like, I know.
Nobody's gonna chase.
You know, in Grey's Anatomy, when I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but basically the main character, she starts dating this guy, and then his wife, who he's separated from, shows up, and he's like, who do I pick? So she makes this whole speech, and she's like, pick me, choose me, love me. And like, fair enough, it's a nice scene, but yeah, maybe that's where the term came from.
Oh my god!
I've heard like ZZ Mills talk about being a pick me, but are we all pick me's then? Everyone.
So essentially, there's an argument between like men and women apparently going on about who is chasing who and who needs to be chasing who and who's the prize, and basically that it's really strange. Like I've come across certain like male influencers that are telling men that they're the prize, and like certain women influencers telling women that they're the prize, and that when the women influencers are like, oh, when you chase a man, let's say there's a very good looking man, he's got a number of women that find him attractive, and so they're all competing for him, and then in the end of the day he believes that he is someone who is of, you know, very much value, and that he should be chased. And so all the women are competing against each other for the man, and they're essentially like trying to get him to pick them.
Even the word choice of chase doesn't sit right with me. Like, why don't you chase it? Like,
oh god, I don't even know.
I said, now you know how we feel. Jason.
I feel like men have a much higher tolerance of rejection because of stuff like habit, like, you know, pursuing more often than say women, at least in terms of dating.
Actually, can I ask the guys about, you know, if they find a girl that's really attractive and like they want to get with or like be with her and stuff, like when you pursue, like what do you see it as? Do you feel like, oh yeah, like this is some like a girl that I'm like, you know, gonna kind of like, I don't know, get her to talk to me, or like?
Depends. If I'm feeling her and I really want her to be mine and she's showing me interest but she's making it hard, that's why I think it has to be a guy chasing a girl, because if not, most guys won't be interested. Like, if I'm feeling you, you can reject me 1,000 times, I don't care, I'll get you. If my mind's on it, I don't mind. You can reject me 1,000 times, I don't care. Like, that's me personally, innit?
So what you're saying is you wouldn't want a girl to show interest? Like, first.
I'm not saying I wouldn't want her to show interest. I'm saying that.
Don't make it easy, innit?
Exactly.
Hard to get.
What does that even mean? Don't make
A mouse game, you know?
But that's such a whole thing.
Shall I tell you?
Games, and then like no one's saying what they actually want, and then one person's playing hard to get. Oh, he didn't text me for 3 hours, so I'm not going to text him for 6. It's like it becomes such a bad spiral.
Yeah, no, like I can completely see and like get it from like that perspective, but I think more in the sense what Mel means is like, you know, let's say if a girl's accepting and agreeing and everything of like what he says and like decides and stuff, like it's dry, it gets boring, isn't it? But maybe if she's like, oh, you know, has her own opinion, likes to have her like own like kind of ideas and stuff, and is not afraid to, you know, put it out there, I think that's more what he means.
I get that.
Mel, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right. You're definitely right still.
So you don't mind someone approaching you and showing interest as long as like they're their own person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's normal, basically, like a normal person.
But to be fair, guys don't get approached like that anyway, regardless. Like, it's usually us doing the hard grafting anyway. How do you ladies like to be approached anyway? Like,
I'm very picky about it.
To be honest, I think it depends from time to time, because sometimes like a direct approach of just being like, you look, I don't know, just like a compliment and getting to know each other is very nice, like then be asked out. But sometimes it's like a bit more subtle, lead in with the flirting, and then once there's like clear chemistry, then go. I think it just like depends on the kind of vibe that you have with the person and like how your personalities match each other's.
I think where you are as well. You don't want to be going up to someone at nighttime and they're trying to go home, okay? It's very creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, just be like subtle and just be nice and respectful, I guess. And if we said like, oh, like, I'm not really interested, like, don't take it to heart, because I feel like I've had experience where guys are just like, okay, whatever, bye. And I'm like, okay, like, sorry. Like,
Or they turn around and cuss you out.
yeah, they're like, oh, you're not even attractive anyway, like, just off. Like, I'm just like, I just came to the club to dance, like, not to get number.
I was out with some friends once. It was like just us girls. And I remember right at the end of the night, this guy comes up to me. He's like, oh, are you going home by yourself tonight? And like, granted, I had not seen this guy the entire night. Like, we had not talked. He was like, are you going home by yourself? And I was like, yeah, I am. And I was like, oh, do you want to come back to mine? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, do you have a boyfriend? Are you going home to your boyfriend? I was like, no, I'm not going home to anyone, but I'm not going home with you. I just thought that approach was not good.
It's creepy. Like,
it's really creepy. No, but I would agree with you guys. Like, it depends. If it's like a in the moment thing, then I don't know. It also depends if I find the other person attractive. Because if you're not attractive and you're making me feel uncomfortable with what you're saying, it's almost like, please, just leave me alone type of thing. But if I find the other person attractive, it's a lot, like, any way could really go. Like, as long as there's a bit of like flirtation going on and you're not asking directly for my number, but maybe through social media, that would be great. But I work in a DPD center, guys, yeah? And the guys have no morals. It's like they're so hungry, like they haven't seen women. And they just, every time they see a woman, it's so crazy. The way they move is so mad. Like, even when I leave the DPD center, the way they be beeping so viciously from their vans, it's like, you guys can't do this because this is mad. This is making me feel very uncomfortable. But having said that, I do like it when people are just like friendly, you know, like when they're just nice people, and then they like will compliment you and then just be like, can we have an exchange on social media? It's like just very smooth, you know, like a friend, like you would with a friend. I like that.
I've had them before, and then they're like, oh, can I have your iMessage? I'm like, oh, I don't have iMessage. You'd have thought you'd take the hint after that. And it's like, oh, what about Snapchat? It's like, oh, no, so I don't have that either.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, please,
just leave me alone. But I want to bring to you guys, like, all of us, I mean, when I say guys, do you feel like girls and guys can be friends? Because I know that's kind of like a big thing where people are like, no, like, how do you guys feel about that?
No, I said there's nothing wrong with guys and girls being friends. Like, I've been on holiday with a group of guys and girls, and we were literally just all friends. And we had a good time. So there's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
What would you smash?
What, my friend? A female friend?
Yeah.
Nah. If it just friends, then I wouldn't do that. But if she was feeling me in some way, then
obviously, if given the opportunity,
it depends on how close we are. Like, if she's like a sister friend kind of thing, because you got friends, then you've got family friends that can literally just, you can consider your family. If it's like a family friend, then if it's just a friend where I see her once in a while, then if she put it on me, then yeah, I wouldn't say that to that. But I wouldn't like go out my way to kind of smash her. I would keep her as if she's literally just cool as a friend, I'd rather just keep her as a friend, because the minute you smash, you quite jeopardize your friendship. So
yeah. How about anybody else, like, on that?
It's not happened to me personally, but the amount of times I've heard people go, oh, they're my sister, they're my brother, and the next thing you know, they're like, people don't respect brother or sister. It doesn't mean the same to other people when it means to me, apparently. You know, that's no, people are getting with, oh, we've known each other since we're 4, nothing would ever happen. And next thing you know, then you see them together. Oh, no, I don't trust people when it's like just my sister or my brother. Like, especially when you've got a sense that there's like something between them, you just have to sense the vibe yourself, as opposed to whatever they say about it. Because I think it's so easy for people to be like, no, of course nothing would ever happen. We're like cousins, and then it always kicks off.
That friendship thing, biggest red flag. I'm not with it.
What do you mean?
The biggest red flag. If you're getting to know a girl and she goes, yeah, like I got bare girl, like no, I've got bare male friends. Never a good sign.
Why not?
Because you're comfortable with the opposite sex a bit too much. That means when guys move to you, you're gonna think, okay, like it's nothing. They can just be my male friends. And then 2-2s now, just it's stressful. I'm not doing that still. I'm not doing it. Personally, yeah.
I think case by case, like some friendships are all right. If there's some people who obviously don't have the same boundaries of friendships that I do and a lot of people share, and their friendships might be, the waters might be muddied. So instead of just having a blanket, if they've got friends that they might be attracted to, banning them off, like I just need to assess that friend, that it's a genuine friendship as opposed to potentially something else.
Like I know how men think. Like you're gonna be around your male friend. Like you could have alcohol in your system. He could have alcohol in his system. You might be horny. Something might happen. Boom. One thing leads to another. Next thing you know, I'm getting mad calls. Like, oh yeah, slum, man.
So do you agree? So do you agree or disagree with like men and girls, women and men can be friends?
I disagree.
I agree with you on that. I don't know. I feel like Shamz said, if you obviously had like a friendship since childhood, like that's a family friend.
Yeah.
You've grown up together. But if it's someone that you've met like late teenagehood, early adulthood, and one of you finds the other attractive, or both of you find each other attractive, it's like it could happen. There's that possibility. Not everyone thinks like you, Shams. Not every guy is like decent like that. No, I mean like they don't want to ruin the friendship. But if given the opportunity, they would 100% smash. That's how I feel.
Oh wait, so are you talking about if you're friends but you're feeling each other?
Yeah, like.
Oh no.
One of you's feeling. I feel like if one of you doesn't find the other one attractive, then it's okay. Personally,
that's what I was going for. Like if you did be friendship, then it's cool to be friends.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, what they do is they lie to themselves and say that they don't find the other person attractive for like whatever reason, but then obviously they secretly are attracted to the other person, and that can lead to trouble.
I've seen some people where they're like friends with someone, but the whole friendship is basically them waiting for a moment to like swoop in and like take their time, we're just friends, and that entire time they've got a crush on that person, and the other person might just be oblivious to it. And then even if they're not oblivious to it, it's just an easy option for them to get with if they're ever feeling like, they need a bit of attention or whatever. So they've got someone there that's just easy access.
I'll be fair, I've done that as well. I've been that person. I've just chilled, done the friendship thing. When it was time, I'm in. So, basically.
Yeah, I hear that as well. And it's like, I've got to give it up to you guys because at least you know how to play the long game. But it's just, this is why I have trust issues, because I had this one friend, we were friends for like near enough a decade. And I honestly considered him my brother. Like, even our families were close. And obviously it got to a point where he told me like, he loved me, etc., etc. And I didn't feel the same way. Ask me if we're friends today, guys. Ask me if we're friends. We're not friends. And I was more heartbroken about the friendship ending than anything else. I don't know if I can even be your friend, because are you trying to play games? Or
he probably was giving you friendship energy the entire time. He was trying to give you something more energy. And then as soon as you turned him down, then he's just like, there's no point in giving energy anymore. So
why didn't you feel the same way though? Like, what was going on? Why was that?
Why didn't I feel the same way?
Yeah, like he was riding in it, was he not?
But I just saw it as this is my friend, as in it was just my friend. I didn't find him like I wasn't physically attracted to him.
What about now that you haven't spoken in like, I don't know how long you haven't spoken to him for, but like, what about now? Like, if you were to pop up again?
As in romantically, no.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Isn't it better to start off as friends though? In some cases.
Yeah, I would agree, because I feel like getting to know someone before you like jump into something with them is a good idea. But at a certain point, it kind of becomes, do we want to risk this friendship in case, like, what if it doesn't work out and then like a year or two down the line we, you know, break up and that's gone? What if it's just a safer bet to stay just friends?
Like if you're friends with someone and then things get heated up and you want to take it to the next step, if the person is feeling the same way, then cool, you can get together or whatever. Because at least by then you have like a foundation, so you know each other, you know what each of you like and dislike. So the relationship should be a bit stronger. Whereas if you just dive into a relationship with someone that you don't really know, that could come tumbling down quicker than anything.
It would be amazing if you could, if it was a genuine friendship at first that blossomed into something else, because there's a foundation there of friendship, you know, and everything that comes with friendship, like loyalty, honesty, communication, you know, what each other's likes and dislikes are. That's amazing, you know, and you don't have to go off the bat from like just dating.
Some girls in this world, yeah, where the only way you can pursue something with them or have sex with them is by spending money on dates, like extravagant amounts of money on them. Like, what do you guys think of that? I think that's wrong still.
Personally, if I'm even on like a first date, I would want to like either split it or like later down the line, if say my partner pays for dinner, then I'll get like, I don't know, lunch the next time we go out. I think like personally, it has to be very even. I would feel very awkward if I went with a guy and he was always, for example, trying to pay for something. It has to be like an equal effort kind of thing for me.
If you know your partner is going to pay all the time, at least just pretend like, oh, like, I will pay this time. And you'd be like, no, I've got this. Like, just do that kind of play role and then get out.
Unless they're your sugar daddy, they should not be paying all the time. Or sugar mama, you know, whatever.
Unless, yeah, that.
I've always been quite independent. So for me, up until like, let's say this last year, I would always insist on paying it, but it was more for a sense of satisfaction for myself. Like I don't owe anyone anything. So what I've had to learn in this last year is how to allow someone else to contribute to me, whether that's financially or mentally or educationally or whatever. I was dating someone and on the 3rd month, it was my birthday. I knew him for 3 months. Yeah. I met him in February. He bought me Balenciagas and it was so awkward that I had to return them back to him because I just couldn't do it. Like, firstly, because I didn't see a future, and secondly, why are you spending £600, my G? Like, and like, it hasn't even been a year. Like, not that the time really matters, but it's just, that's a lot of money. And I know, I don't want to say like financially savvy, but like none of us are there yet, I feel, to be just splashing money on Balenciagas. Invest that if you want to, but just those.
And then it leads to issues. For example, if like doesn't work out, then they'll be like, "Oh, remember that time I brought you this? Okay, but I didn't ask you to pay for that."
I could never have that on my chest, you know. Like I can never hold that. I had to give it back to him because if anyone ever turns around and be like, "Yeah, but I bought you that," it's just like,
yeah,
how dare you?
I want to know that the man can provide for his family. He needs to be a provider and a protector. If I have children and I'm out of work and stuff and he can't hold down the bills and stuff, then like I'm not going to try and like be living the struggle life. However, I'm not saying that like, oh, people need to go back to like the olden days of how they used to do things, because I'm very much not trying to be like a homemaker. Like that's not my MO. I'm not interested in that. However, I do think that if I'm looking for a partner, I'm looking for a provider and protector, for someone who's going to provide and protect his family.
But the woman's got to be a grinder as well, though.
Yeah, I want to ask you something, Izzy. Were you raised in a house with both parents?
Like they were there.
Like were you all together in one household?
Yeah.
It's interesting because one of my closest friends, she has like the most beautiful family unit ever, and like I love it when she shares about her family and how her parents are, because it's very much like that. Like they know each other's like role and it works, right? For me, I was raised just by my mom, and so I've like up until maybe like 19, I always grew up thinking like, right, I need to make sure I'm good, because you know, like worst comes to worst, I need to make sure I can provide for myself, for my kids, maybe even my grandkids.
Yeah.
And it's only up until recently that I've started to like understand, you know what, like I guess it would work if there was two of us that would put down a deposit for the mortgage, or is able to pay like the house off, or able to provide. That would make my life a lot easier, you know. So it's really interesting that you say that, because different people are gonna come from like different, like obviously have different upbringings. So like in your case, you were brought up with that two parents, so you have that image to compare to what you want your relationship to be, and I think it's amazing. And I would, to a certain extent, I agree. Like you wanna be clear like who's playing what role, but I also feel like we do live in such a modern time where we both have to be at it, really. Like if you want to live comfortably and have a good life, we both have to go at it. We have to both be in it together, working in partnership for the sake of our lineage, basically.
Oh my god! So I watched, which I really recommend, a documentary about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she is a oh god, what is it called?
Supreme Court Justice.
Yeah, Supreme Court Justice. And the documentary is on Netflix. But anyway, so she met her husband when she was, I think, only 18, and they married really young. And he went to law school and she went to law school. And what was so amazing about their partnership is at the time there were so many laws against so it was a lot of sexist laws essentially. So for example, if a man had to move somewhere for work, the woman had to legally follow him, like she had to. So for example, when they were together, she got pregnant in her second year of law and he had cancer. So she stayed, like she looked after the child, she looked after him, and she still managed to make I think it was the Harvard Law Review, which was like a massive deal at the time because there were like 9 women in her class. But then later on, so for example, she took up the like hard work and like the responsibilities then. But then later on, when she had an opportunity to move somewhere for her job, he made the sacrifice to kind of move with her. And anyway, so the whole documentary, while it is about the amazing things that she has done for women, their partnership just, honestly, it was inspiring to see. They worked so well together, like somebody picked up a bit here when the other person couldn't. And I just feel like that kind of partnership and share of responsibilities is what I think perfectly would work. That's the kind of thing that I personally would strive for.
I think that's so ideal. Like that is what everyone should strive for in terms of like a relationship and a partnership. Whether that happens in real life is another question. I've seen a lot of men essentially get emasculated because they're not the man of the house, and because they weren't bringing in the most or whatever, or like providing, like they felt like their position as the head of the household was threatened, and so they would go off and they would do things to kind of try and like take back their masculinity, like maybe getting a side chick that would like worship them or whatever. And like that's really like ideal. I think everyone would kind of like that to be their relationship in the future. I think I've seen it play out this way in a lot of like celebrity relationships. You all know Mary J. Blige. She essentially was the breadwinner, and her relationship broke down because essentially she was kind of like the head of her household and stuff. And
I think that's a preconception though. Go on, Ben, go on.
I was going to say, with that situation, I think she just didn't get with her equal. She had to put him on, and he became her manager purely through their relationship. And if you look at Wendy Williams, for example, her husband became a manager and became successful purely through Wendy and her career, and then became her manager. I think you need to find someone that's on independently from you on an equal level, and then you've got a strong foundation. I think in this economy you need 2 incomes. You need it as like a backup blanket if someone gets made redundant, and you need it to get a mortgage, because you ain't get the mortgage on 1 income unless you're doing really well. You really need 2 people. It's not happening otherwise. Karolina was saying it's just good to have someone that's there. Like you do a bit of both, and like if there's for example, like you were saying, you want to raise someone with your culture. If you're in an interracial or intercultural relationship and the woman's just the one at home raising them, then the man's culture gets left out of that. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be good if there was a sharing of that, because there'll be resentment otherwise, I think.
But Mel, you was going to say something.
My mind's gone blank. I can't lie.
Oh, okay. It's interesting that you mentioned interracial relationships. I haven't been in a relationship with someone that's not from like the Latin culture. In my culture, there's this saying, which basically means to better the race, to like marry into someone that's lighter skinned than you. And I didn't really understand it until, you know, I was much older and I started doing like my own research into it. But I know that in maybe not so much my generation, but my grandparents' generation, it was very much a thing of like, you know, you want to get with someone with good hair, you want to get with someone that has lighter skin. And my brother's he's got a partner, and she's Indian, and we were sharing today that it's so obvious, like it's so massive in her culture to base things off like, you know, caste. They have a whole caste system. And it's just like, I don't know if any of you have watched Indian matchmaking.
Yeah,
it's so hilarious, guys. It's so funny. But they be categorizing people. Oh no, like she's fair skinned, she will go well with this person. You know, like she's this height, she will go well with that person. So I don't know, like I'm open to dating people from any sort of background, as long as they're like not, no offense, but super religious. I'm pretty much open as long as we can make it work. But has anyone been in an interracial relationship?
Yeah, it's good, but it's hard at the same time.
What was hard?
Because you might like the person, they might like you, whatever, you love each other, but having to meet their family is a different story. Because obviously, I'm a black guy. Dating in certain races is not going to be easy, depending on the race. Like when it comes to like, I'm not discriminating any race. Like I like any race. I'll go for any race. But when it comes to like the Asian community, Latins as well, sorry. They're more like, they just stick to their own kind of race. I don't know if that's like just your parents, not you guys, like our kind of generation, but your parents, they kind of like, they want you to marry someone from your own race. So obviously bringing home a black guy or a white guy is going to be quite hard for them to take in, or they might even reject it. Even being like a Muslim or Christian, some parents, you might be the same religion, but because you're not the same skin color, sorry.
I've seen that a lot in the Muslim community.
Yeah.
If you're black here and you're trying to get like with like an Arab girl, the stories I've heard. It's not good. Like literally, they're like, oh, abada, like, which like means like the N-word, didn't it? Yeah, and like be like, oh, like trying to freaking threaten like the dad would like threaten like his daughter for trying to like get with like a black man and stuff. Like the stories I've heard like are mad extreme. It just goes to show certain communities that really want to keep in within themselves. And I'm not saying everyone's like that, because the younger generation, like you said, are more open to like getting involved with people who aren't, you know, from the same community, as long as like, you know, they get along, they have the same values and they really like each other.
I feel like our generation is very powerful. Our generation's like really strong-minded, and they stand for what they want, which is amazing, obviously. So I'm here for it. Do you ever feel like there's a fetishization? I feel like there is for black men and women right now. And like it's been mixed race people as well, obviously Latina culture as well.
Who's fetishizing who?
So I feel like growing up, there was like this underlined, unsaid thing that Latinas were a certain type of way. So much so that I would not tell people where I was from, because like if you meet me, you a lot of people don't assume I'm Colombian, and they'll be normal with me. But as soon as, you know, like that question comes up and I say, yeah, I'm Colombian, it's like it changes completely, because I don't know what it is. Well, yeah, it's a fetishization of like what Latinas are like, what Colombians are like, or whatever. And it's uncomfortable. Are
they trying to move to you? Like afterwards?
Yeah. And it's uncomfortable because it's like, what does my country have anything to do with anything really? Like, yeah, it's annoying because they'll have these perceptions of how Latinos should be, how they should act, and I guess it happens with most cultures. But there's like, even in films and how we're portrayed in the media, it's always like sexy big boobs, big bummed maid that does the cleaning, that's bare dumb, and it's just like,
yeah. You know, in TV shows, the black person's the funny person, or serious or jealous type, like
guys first.
And I feel like there's a fetish of like wanting mixed race babies right now. Like most influencers I see that are pregnant or have just had babies, like their babies are mixed race. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but like
footballers as well.
Dangerous. Sorry?
Footballers as well. They seem to like fetish white women a lot still.
Yeah. What is that about? Like, there's nothing wrong with your preference.
I just feel like you should just go, if you like the person, you like the person, but just don't go for the person because you're just like, oh my god, like they have a specific like criteria that I love, like, oh, I've seen on TV or like whatever. Just go for that person because you like them, like truly, not because, you know, the stereotypes that you're given.
I think with black men, they're hypermasculinized in the media traditionally, and it's been used to, you know, promote slavery, that black men are really, you know, savages, and all of this really destructive, you know, images of black men. And I think it's been sexualized in a way that some white women really like that and will just exclusively open mouth black men because that's their perception in their head. But that's just me seeing a couple of people that I've now cut off that have that perception. And I think it's the same with different races. It's, you know, reinforced images of the media of what they think that person would be like based on their race or their, you know, their country. And in reality, it doesn't always match up with the actual people when they're like that.
And I find it so awkward, guys. Like, I'm walking down the street and say it's an interracial couple, like say a black man with a white woman. I don't care. Like, you date whoever, love is love, whatever. But I feel like they just look at me because they feel like I'm going to say something. I'm just like, why are you looking at me for approval, whatever? Like, I don't care. I just feel like when I walk on the street, they're both, especially like the black individual, they just look at me like I'm going to say something, or look at them like, oh, like, why are they dating together? Like, I don't care.
Okay, so I've had this conversation with girls, yeah. I'm just gonna say it how it is. And there's obviously like this assumption that black guys have big dicks, and a lot of the girls that I know will literally only go with black guys because they assume that they have big dicks. And it's like, sis, I don't think that's what you should be basing like the encounter on, especially if you haven't seen them naked. So have you guys ever felt like that's a thing for you?
I used to live in Southend and it was kind of a thing, innit? So I would say, yeah.
And how does that make you feel?
I felt, you see how girls feel when they're always complaining like, guys are always sexualizing you lot. You're always getting moved to for the wrong reasons. Like, a guy doesn't want you for you. They want you for like what you can give to them. It kind of felt like that. Like, I finally understood what my cousins would moan to me about. I finally understood what girls would complain about. Like, I found myself complaining about the same things, and yeah, I didn't like it still.
If you're not, you know, true to that stereotype, then that, I don't know what that would do to your confidence as well, you know, because there will be people that aren't, you know, that are black and don't have, you know, a massive dick or whatever. And it must, I don't know, because there's that assumption all the time. I don't know how you would deal with that. That must be really hard. And it's not fair that that pressure's put on them unproportionately to other guys.
Absolutely. But one thing I want to touch on, guys, is love languages. Have you guys heard of love languages?
Affirmation.
Yeah, so there's 5. There's words of affirmation, quality of time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch.
Have you done the test?
I've done a test, yeah.
Yeah, I've done it as well.
What do any of you feel like you know exactly which one you would come under?
Quality time.
Mine was quality of time and acts of service.
What qualifies as act of service?
So I guess anything from like I don't know, like making me breakfast or
Oh, okay.
making the dishes or like services, or you know what I mean.
I saw this post where it's like, why do I have to choose one? Why can't I have all five? And I'm like, I feel that energy. I want all five love languages in like little bits, like
Everything in small doses.
Absolutely. I'm not much of a words of affirmation because I do that for myself anyway. And I'm always cautious about what people say and what comes out of their mouth. I'm more of like a actions person, like
Yeah.
know each other.
I also feel like if someone says something to me and I personally don't believe it, then I'm just going to be like, okay, that's nice that you said that, but it's not resonating with what I'm feeling. So
Acts of service and affirmations. Why? Because if you say something, I want to see you walk your talk. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so that was important to me.
What's the 5 signs again? Sorry.
So the words of affirmation, quality of time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch.
And physical touch being.
It could be like hugs and kisses, sex, like just intimacy, basically.
Physical touch is the one. I feel like the rest you can get away with not really having it as much as physical touch. If you don't have the physical touch, there's no point.
Bro, you can't think like that though. What do you mean physical touch? Oh, there's no point.
Because put it this way: if you're not getting none of that from your partner,
But why is that important though?
but then, for example, let's say you could say the same about quality of time. If you're not spending any quality time with that person, but you are still having sex with them, then how is that different to having a one night stand?
And there's no wrong here, guys. Like everyone's love language is, you know, for them, isn't it? Like you can't be.
My thing is, Shams, what are you gonna do when she's on her period and she can't have sex with you? Like, what are you gonna do then? Like,
you can hug and kiss. You can hug and kiss. To me, don't get me wrong, the rest are important, but this is for me. This one stands out the most because if my partner was in, say, a different country and was FaceTime each other all the time, that's quality time, and I was giving her money or she was giving me money. That's receiving gifts and stuff. But if I can't physically touch her, I can't do anything with her. Then, for me personally, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
What if she was in a coma?
Nah, that's extreme.
You can't have none of them then if you.
Not, yeah.
Yeah, literally. Kills me.
I don't know. I feel like personally, I don't necessarily require a lot of time with the person, but I need the quality. So like, if we're gonna spend 2 hours this week together, yeah, then that needs to be quality 2 hours. Like I'm not gonna be on my phone. I hope you're not on your phone. I hope I have like 100% your attention and we're spending quality time together because I'm busy and my partner's probably going to be very busy as well. So I'd want it to be quality time. But I mean, you know, like words of affirmation, I don't know. I think that's so corny. Guys, what's the corniest thing you've done in a relationship? Like, have any of you had like a massive breakup and then done some corny stuff? I've done some corny stuff. I've handwritten love letters, guys, and delivered it. Hand delivered it. Put it through the box. I swear down.
No, I
Bro,
haven't.
did we take you back?
Yeah, the first few times, but then obviously it didn't work out in the end. But
The first few times. How many times were you writing letters and sending it over?
listen, man, I thought that was the ride of my life. I thought that was my partner for life. Like that was my ride or die. I thought we was gonna die together. Do you know what I mean? Like listen, I didn't see any other option. I thought this is my partner. Obviously, it didn't work out, but I did some corny shit. I'm okay with that, you know. I thought it was quite cute, to be fair. None of you guys have done some corny shit.
Not that corny.
Therefore, have.
What have you done?
I was at Brit school, innit? So like I had like me and my girl were going out for like 2 years during college. Then like basically I fucked up in it. I did something fucked in it. I'm not gonna say what. So like I wrote a poem quick. Like I had a poem there basically, but I just finished it off based off how I feel about her. And I remember her mum was gonna be in the stage, innit? So I just thought, fuck it. Like, I told some physical theatre artists in my class, like, right, like, I got this poem. Can you like do some physical theatre shit behind me? Whilst I do the poem. They're like, yeah, like we'll do that. And cool, like basically end of the performance. I came to the middle. I said, yo, listen, I did what I needed to do. Boom, boom, boom. She started crying. Boom, boom, boom. End of story. I got her back in it.
Wow. Wow, you're brave. That's brave.
Wait, sometimes you've got to go the extra mile when you think it's about to end. Obviously, that hasn't happened in a long time, but my younger self, she wasn't none the wiser, so I've got to allow her.
You know what? A lot. Like, this is not corny, but I think what a lot of people also do is when you stay up really late to talk to that person, and then it ends up that they went to sleep, but you're here to like 1 a.m. You know, who cares? You're getting up at 7. That I'm not doing anymore.
I refuse to do stuff like that. Like when you go out, yeah. I don't know. Okay, this is more like towards the girls, but like when you go out, has your partner ever been like, oh, like come round after, like just come see me now, basically, and then you just don't end up going out because you're gonna go see your babes? It's like I don't think I will ever do that now. You see guys, they will have the time of their life with man them, yeah, and they know their girl is waiting for them. They just know the girl is waiting. She's up all night waiting for you and your smelly dick to come home, your sweaty dick. I refuse to do. I'm gonna have the time of my life with my friends right now.
Don't wait. I've learned, like, don't wait for anyone. Just do what you do. Like, even if you had a plan, the plan never goes the way you want it. So just do what you need to. Go see your friends, go eat, go relax, go watch a movie, go cinema. If you meet up, you meet up. If you don't, you don't. But I think we've all been there where you just wait for... I just literally tell my partner, like, look, I go bed after 12, so please don't call me after because I won't be awake right now.
It is what it is. But you know what? I want to ask you guys, in terms of like your future, are you guys clear if you guys want to have kids? When do you have that relationship with someone that you're dating? Is that a conversation that you have with people, like once you're in a relationship with them? Or do you suss it out in the dating process? Like, have any of you guys gone through that?
I wouldn't say do it in the dating phase because that's just a bit early. Like, especially when each other for 3 months and you're talking about kids.
Yeah, you already know. Guys, the last person I was dating, it just put me off. Literally, month 2, my guy was already sending me baby pictures of like what our potential kids could look like. And it made me so panicky that I was like, we need to slow this down. Like, we need to just take a pause here and even reevaluate what's going on because this is too soon. Like, we barely know each other. I don't know if I want to have kids with you as of yet.
I would personally not have that conversation very early on. I think like go through the, whatever your process is going to be through your relationship and kind of see where you're at. Like if you're living together and then there's a possibility of you getting married, I think it needs to be discussed before that because you don't want to, be in 3 years of marriage and then suddenly you find out that the other person doesn't want to have children. I think definitely do it before that. But yeah, it should be discussed at some point. Obviously, there are things like if you're practicing different religions, like what religion are our kids going to be and like which traditions are we going to uphold in our house and things like that. So there's a lot to be discussed.
I feel like with kids, it's something like if it happens, it happens. And if you both want kids, then if it happens, it happens. There shouldn't be like I know people do plan to have kids at a certain age or whatever, but kids come at any time. If you miss your contraception pill once and then you had a kid, then it comes. Obviously, I'll tell the girl that I'm with or dating, like, do you want kids? I'll ask her if she wants kids in the future. I won't say, oh, yeah, when we plan to have kids, whatever. I won't make it seem as if we're going to have kids. You just ask her questions like, where does she stand on having kids? Whether she wants kids, how many kids does she want? So you can kind of plan out, okay, cool. So she's that kind of family girl, or maybe she doesn't want kids, so she's kind of that. She wants that independent lifestyle. So personally, I wouldn't just like kind of put it on her to say, yeah, when we having kids. I'll just just talk about it.
But like, how soon would you have that conversation?
Probably within the first month or so. If you're serious,
That would scare me, bro.
If a guy said to like asked me, "Do you want to have kids?" I would take a good few steps back, first of all. But also, I would worry that if I was dating a guy and I asked him, "Do you want to have kids?" then he'll be like, "Wait, is she thinking about having kids with me already?"
like, I'm a family guy, so like if I ask her certain questions, like if she wants a family one day, how many kids does she want, and she gives me kind of responses that I don't want to hear or that's not matching with what I want, then I can kind of look it off, kind of thing. Not look it off, but to me, it may not work out because we want two different things. Whereas if she said to me, "Oh yeah, I want to have say 3 kids one day or whatever," then I can be like, "Okay, cool. Maybe I can probably take this further because we're on the same level." Not like I'm gonna say to her in a month, "Oh, when should we have kids?" I think 27 is a good age. No, I'm not gonna say that's big. That's creepy. Because if a girl came on to me and said,
Yeah, obviously, I think it's about asking the right questions and seeing if the person is trying to get to the same place in life as you are. Like Sham said, like if you want kids and this person doesn't want kids, there's no reason to spend more of your life or waste more of your life with them. Do you know what I mean? Where am I? I ain't trying to have no kids. Not anytime soon. I haven't decided anything. But basically, where where Kia and I work, it's kind of like a baby central. You see so many like pregnant women and babies, and I swear to God, I've never seen that much.
It's known for, it's called Baby Boomer Street. Like it's the most like females have the most babies basically.
Yeah, and literally people go there because it has like the best like nurseries and like all of those other things like for raising like kids. And I've just become really disturbed in the sense of like, oh, the way some of these women's like stomachs have just expanded. Like I'm just like, oh my God, like it looks so scary. And for me to like want to even like think about like getting married and have like a kid with someone, this person has to be some amazing person. Like what? Like, because right now I'm like, no, like if I'm being 100% honest.
What about you, Ben?
I think it's important to suss it out early on. I don't think you have to ask as explicitly as, do you want to have kids? You know, you can just sort of tell from a general, oh, where do you see yourself in the future? Like, what's your long-term plan? And like things like that, you can sort of suss it out. Because like Karolina was saying, if someone's very like direct with it, it can be off-putting straight away. But I think as well, like people's plans change. So you could get their answer when they're 22 and fully invest in it. And by the time they're 35, and you're like, oh, this person didn't want kids. And then they might get the bug when they're 35 and suddenly want like a big family. So I think it's just something that you have to regularly check that you're on the same wavelength together of how you're feeling. But it's not something that you don't want to ever address. And then when it comes to you need to address it, then finding out that you're on 2 different wavelengths, because that's not going to end very well.
Do you want kids, Ben?
It's hard to say at the moment. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not like, yeah, tons of kids. So it is what it is. Like, it just sort of depends how it lines up with things in the future. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do think it depends on your partner and everything as well. Like, I've seen so many like mothers that have like been in the area that you can just tell like they really regret their decision. And the fact that kids isn't for everyone, not everyone is capable of like being a parent and raising children. However, because of society standards, they feel like, oh, like they have to do it. Their parents is telling them, yeah, when you can sit down and have children. Their friends are like, yeah, when you gonna have kids? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of people feel pressured into this situation, and they don't really think about it. Let's say, like, for example, if a girl, she's reaching a certain age and she's like, oh my God, like my biological clock is ticking, yeah. She turns around, she settles for a guy that she's really not all that interested in. Why? Because she's like, oh, like my biological clock is ticking, and like if I don't have kids now, I'm not going to have kids. I won't be able to. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like there's a lot of stuff like this that goes on in society, and it's really unhealthy. Like, so unhealthy for like the adults that get into this lifelong commitment and like really end up just living like such a depressing life, but also the children have to grow up in that.
Personally, I feel like being financially stable is really, really important. But I think being at that stage in life where you are capable of looking after a child, not just capable, but like you're mentally ready type of thing, and not just you, but your partner as well. And it's just like creating that space for your child. Because literally, I look at my niece, yeah, this is my first niece, she's 6 months, and I just look at her as like, wow, you're a whole human being, you know, and you're actually here. Like, you're here forever, like, to grow. It's so crazy. I've never experienced a love like this, guys. It's like, oh, I would actually give my life for you. I've never experienced a love like this, like I do with my niece. So I can't even imagine what it's going to be like when I have kids. But yes, anyway, just to wrap it up, guys, do you guys have any words of advice, maybe any sort of like wisdom, any gems that you want to share?
I think, don't allow other people or society to pressure you into anything that you're not ready for or that you haven't really considered. And you need to live a life that you're going to love and be fulfilled by. Why? Because it's your life. No one else is going to live it for you. And all these people giving their 2 cents are not going to live your life for you. You need to do what you feel most comfortable and happy in doing.
I love that. Do you live a life that you love?
Oh, I'm going to say something corny, actually. Love yourself first.
Absolutely.
That's my advice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to copy and paste what Izzy said, and that's my advice as well.
And don't stay up texting people who are not worth your time. Go to sleep.
Yeah, sleep, please.
I'd say like everything that Karolina and Izzy said, and then also I'm so bad at making excuses for people. If I want something to work out with someone, I'd be like, oh, they've only done this because of, and make it that they're right and they've not done something wrong. And I'm trying to get out of the habit of doing that before entering anything else.
Have boundaries. If someone violates your boundaries, let them know. And if they continue to do so, then you need to cut them off.
I used to see so many red flags and I'd just ignore them. I'd like do a whole tour of the red flag factory and like not realise that there was one until I was like in the gift shop at the end, realising that, oh shit, you know.
Oh my God, I know women can't be colourblind, but when it comes to red flags, it just... I would definitely back that. Like, that's something I'm working on myself at the moment. Like, do not make excuses for somebody else. If they're doing you wrong, they are doing you wrong. Like, there is, you know, and if somebody values you, they will make time for you. You are always a priority. If you are a priority to them, you will feel like you are a priority to them.
I'd say invest in things that make you happy, know what you want, and don't settle for less.
I would agree with you guys. Definitely make sure you stay in communication and clock the red flags and leave if you gotta leave, if it's not making you happy.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with everyone. Just be yourself, be your authentic self, and yeah, just spot the red flags and don't feel bad in terms of ending it with someone. If they're not giving what you want or you deserve, just cut it.
But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Honestly, thank you all for being here. You could have been doing absolutely anything on your Saturday evening, and you chose to be here with us to share some of your love, some of your wisdom, and some of your experiences. And I know Kia and I really, really appreciate it, and we've loved having you on. So thank you so much.
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you again. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too.
Right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.